Hello, welcome back to my vlog series. If you have no idea who I am, my name is Olivia, and you're actually joining me at a really interesting time because this is actually the last episode of my series. All semester, I've been introducing you to me through some mediocre paintings, and today we're gonna take a look at the full collection of work that I've created to really reflect on, what you've learned about me, what I've learned about me, but also really take a hard look about whether or not my painting skills have improved at all. I'm excited to hop right in, so without further ado. Over the course of the semester, I painted 9 different paintings, and honestly, I think that they break down pretty well into 3 chunks. So I want to go through each of the chunks and talk about how I've grown as an individual over time, over the semester, and over these creations, but also what they were meant to teach you. In this first set, I created 3 paintings. I created the sunrise, the calendar, and the Ecuadorian flag. In this first set, I talked about being an optimist and being a morning person. I talked about being a planner and wanting autonomy. And I talked about being Latina and having a tumultuous relationship with feeling like enough. I think that these paintings were very good for getting my feet wet with the vlogs, but I also think that they were a little bit surface level. All of the things I talked about were incredibly important. I am a planner, I am an optimist, and I am like Latina. But I also feel like I was nervous to kind of really present myself in any sort of deep way to y'all. So I think that these paintings were really good, but they weren't necessarily the deepest. So with the second set of paintings, I talked a lot about what I do when I'm stressed and kind of where I turn when I'm faced with hardship. And so as a part of the second set, I painted the road, the glass of water, and the tree. With the road painting, I talked about de-stressing behind the wheel. With the glass of water, I talked about being full with my friends. And with the tree, I talked about my mom's side of the family and my family tree. All of these paintings were actually really informative to me as an individual because I think that it was really important for me to evaluate what you do when you're faced with something that's not necessarily pretty. And I think that oftentimes we don't necessarily think about those things, but knowing myself and being able to turn to yes, I do go on a drive when I'm stressed, or when I need to reach out for support, I know that I have my friends and family. Those are all incredibly important parts about me. So I think that this second set is where I kind of started to get a little bit deeper in my vlog series, and I also really started to learn more about myself as an individual. Okay, the third set of paintings. Honestly, these were the wild card paintings, mainly because all 3 of them were not planned. I had set out a calendar, I had set out a schedule for these vlogs, and all 3 of these were paintings that I think are actually really representative of how comfortable I became talking to everyone who watches my vlog. I learned a lot about myself over the course of this year and a lot about myself over the course of the semester. And I think that one of the things I learned is that I don't always have to be so presentable. All 3 of the last paintings, the graduation cap, the telephone, and the LinkedIn logo, were incredibly important about being vulnerable, and they were incredibly important to me because I was able to be unscripted for the first time. I talked about being anxious about my future and not knowing what life is going to look like after graduation. I talked about being an extrovert during the pandemic and how hard that is for me. And I also talked about my weaknesses publicly, which was not an easy feat for me to do. All 3 of those paintings were my favorite in terms of sentimentality because I think they were the ones where I was being the most genuine. Not that I lied at all throughout the whole series, but these were the ones where I truly just spoke from the heart about all the things I'm facing. And I think that this is really the last 3 weeks are really when I found my personal brand, because if there's anything I want to be in the future for whatever company I work for, it's authentic. And I think that the last 3 paintings are where I was the most authentic. So if I had to pick a favorite in terms of how they turned out, this is hard. I think that I would pick this one. And if I had to pick a least favorite in terms of how they turned out, I think I would pick this one. I love all of the paintings I did, and the Collection of Olivia, which is what I'm calling this series, will honestly be hanging on my wall for, I think, a very long time. But I hope that you enjoyed learning about me through these paintings, and I also hope that you will follow me on my career journey and also on my personal journey, and I look forward to seeing you all again.